right, folks, good evening. This is Wilson, November 6th, Echo Mike Foxtrot, your net control operator for the River City Arc Slow-Scan TV net. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes and meets Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City Arc's members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact the net control by saying break break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Well, stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I will recognize each station before continuing and basically after wishing everybody a Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year. Any station who wishes to check in to the net, please come now.
November 6th, Papa Golf, Quebec.
Kilowatt Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec, Romeo. Neil.
Alpha India 6, Delta Golf.
Kilo 3, Romeo Echo Hotel.
Kilo Papa 4, Mike Delta.
Kilo November 6, Quebec, November Juliet, James.
Wow, we're in for some fun tonight. Well, good evening, everybody. I've got N6PGQ, KL7HQR, AI6DG, K3REH, KP4MD, KN6QNJ. That's Bob, Neil, Joel, Anders, Carol, and James in that order. And thank you all very much for checking into the net. Do I have any other check-ins? It's going to be a fun night with 6 folks on the cast. So anyway, Happy New Year to you. And before we get started, let me open the floor for any general comments or questions.
Comment.
Come again?
This is James, Kilo November 6, Quebec, November Juliet. I just want to thank all of you and Anders for the technical support. I hope everything will work tonight.
All right. Go ahead, Anders. Did you have anything?
Just that there are 7 participants. You forgot yourself.
Yeah, let's see how quickly we can get through all the photos. I enjoy the net control so much, I might live vicariously through the rest of the cast. If it gets too late, I might. In fact, I don't have a photo ready. So, long story short, yeah, thanks going out to Anders for all the support he provided. KN6QNJ, James, I know you folks must have really cranked through a lot of settings on the FT991. And James, thanks for joining in again, and thanks for hanging in there with the process. This is great. And if there's time, I sure would love to hear an update about what happened. If not tonight, sometime in the near future. So I'll turn it over to Bob in N6PGQ if he's ready. Go ahead and transmit a photo.
Okay, this should be PD 120.
Dr. EMF here, no, not Dr. N6 EMF Net Control here, recommends a crowdsourced solution to this photo, but I will say that it is a pretty good photo with an array of pixel pops just kind of consistently throughout the photo, and I could kind of start off with a hint that I could tell that it's definitely related to music, and I won't extract too much more mystery or fun out of it. How's that? So I can tell you that it's definitely a component of a musical instrument from my perspective, and I will turn it over to Neil, KL7HQR.
KL7HQR. And I think you're really wrong, because if you look carefully on the bottom, obviously it could be a metal, and it could be the front end of some kind of a very antique gun, and it has a crown sideways, so obviously it was used by somebody that went to Burger King. I have no idea. I also see some potential for a close-up of a instrument. It appears also that they have some kind of a coil or a spring coming from the top of the crown. I don't know if that's it or it was just the repeater identifying itself. So very intriguing, but the quality was good. Very few pops. Very, very good copy. Back to that.
It could also be a pencil with some accessories attached to it. Lots of horseplay there. AI60G. Joel, by the way, thank you, Neil, for your comments.
So we've got, geez, how to describe this? I know what it is, but I'm trying to describe it otherwise. So we've got, we've got a kind of a wooden dowel with some metal stuff on the end of it on the right side, and some black stuff kind of wrapped around it on the left side, and a black thing sticking up on it above that, kind of a bracket with sideways crown embossed on it, and some horse-hairs sticking out the left side of the top of it. And this is a musical instrument bow for like a violin or something. I know that bows can get extremely expensive, and this does not look like a cheap one, but I have no idea. I've never played stringed instruments. I was always a wind instrument, either woodwind or brass. But it looks like a nice, expensive bow for a violin or something like that, and look forward to hearing more. Oh, and Florida, what's the French Florida art, Florida French? That might be the center part of the crown. Back to net, AI60G.
All right, nice one. I think we're developing the components of the mystery here, so thank you for those comments, Joel. And Anders, K3REH.
So I think this is a royal match. The strike part of it is down on the left. Clearly, something phosphorus down there that can rub against something to catch fire. It's got a golden really elaborate handle on the right side of it, and then obviously the king's crown there is there because it's the king's match, and then it's got some fuel that's coming out of the top left there, so that when you strike it, you have fuel that can keep burning. So that's my take. K3RH, back to net.
Well, these are some colorful stories that are developing. Very good, Anders. Thank you. Carol, KP4MD, any comments?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. The picture came through very well, very few pixel pops. And I think I'll agree with Joel. This looks like the handle part of a violin bow. Back to net, KP for MD.
All right, that's the least sensible answer I've heard all night. Thank you, Carol. KN6QNJ. James?
Thanks, KN6QNJ. Well, it's either the prototype for a fan dipole antenna or the bow for a bass instrument, possibly.
Yeah, that's that's great. Thank you for that, James. That was KN6QNJ. N6EMF completing the rounds and going right up to the top. We have Bob, N6PGQ, who had a career as an educator and a musician, and is probably still a musician. Tell us all about this photo.
Well, you guys pretty well got it. This is a viola bow, and that's what's called the frog. This was made by William Watson in Denham, Bucks, England in 1974, and I bought this. I commissioned him to make this. It's a lot of things you can't import, tortoiseshell and all that kind of stuff. The screw at the very bottom right is engraved gold with mother of pearl inside it, and the escutcheon at the top is also engraved gold. It's not very obvious in the picture, and the crown's inlaid. It's a really nice bow, and as one of you guys said, it's pretty valuable. N6PGQ.
Wow, that's quite interesting. We won't ask about the assessed value, but yeah, it looks pretty significant. Any follow-up comments or questions? Thank you for that, Bob.
Congratulations, Bob, KL7HQR. It sounds like a very, very valuable possession. It's a great thing.
All right. Only suggestion, Bob, is don't try to load it up with RF. Just let it be for AF. How's that? N6EMF.
Yeah, that sounds good, except for the screw on the right side. There isn't much metal in the silly thing, so it might do for 800 megahertz, but I don't know anything else that it would load up on.
Well, hearing from Tom Schiller last night, N6BT, you never know that those strands might be conductive. You never know. Anyway, fun stuff. Thanks for sharing. Let me jump out of order a little bit. I'll jump down to Carol, KP4MD. If you're ready to transmit a photo, it'll be your turn.
Just give me one moment, and I'll take the next turn.
Okay, I'll pick up Carol number 3. So, KL7HQR, Neil?
Roger, this should be a PP120.
this is Net Control N6EMF. I could say that you have successfully transmitted a photo, and what I can see is a pretty good photograph with some good color spectrum. It looks like a train is the main subject of the photograph, maybe a train locomotive of some kind. I don't know much about trains, but it looks like it has if I'm not mistaken, in the background, it looks like there could be sort of a control house, or I forgot what you would call that, but it's a raised deck sort of control house or observation room. But the train is gray with a red chair on the front deck and some yellow bumpers on the front. And there's a woman holding a camera in the foreground looking down onto the track or on the side of the track. So it'll be interesting to hear from you what's going on in this photo, and I can't discern anything else really. But with that, maybe I'll go back up to the top of the list. Bob, N6BGQ, were you able to receive?
The quality was really good. I'm guessing that that's one of the mules at the Panama Canal that pulls the ships down the canal and through the locks. The bumpers in the front are yellow. We have Neil's call, and the quality of the picture is really good. No pixel pops, or very, very few, and came out really good. At least that's my guess. N6PGQ.
Yeah, indeed. Well, nice work, Neil, and it is a great photo, and thank you for that, Bob. AI6DG, Joel, how about you? You have a copy?
Yes, excellent copy. Few pops. Train on the left. Some sort of structure on the right with a woman looking over a wooden railing. I think I agree that it's, I don't know about Panama, but some sort of lock system, some sort of lock with the train on the left being used to move the ship through the lock. And yeah, I think it's also, interestingly, I don't think it's a traction drive train. If you look on the middle between the tracks, you can see what looks like a gear. So what is that, funicular or something like that? I forget what that's called, where the track, it's not the wheels turning that drives the train. It's geared against the gear in between the tracks. The only thing that confuses me about this is the size of the ship. If that's a ship on the right, the size of it's pretty small and pretty low. It's not like a cruise ship that's 5-10 stories tall. Otherwise, we wouldn't be at the same level as the train. So I look forward to hearing more. Back to Net AI6DG.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. I didn't recognize that segmented portion in the middle of the track, but yeah, it looks like it's a tube type of drive system. Thank you. K3REH, Anders.
I have an excellent copy, good colors, very few pixel pops, and I agree with everything that's been said. I also want to add that you can kind of see two pulleys or something that is kind of hanging out from the right side of the train thing there, if that's a locomotive or some kind of engine, and then that looks like there are thin wires going into the side of the presumably the ship that is on the right there, where the lady is smelling the mahogany of the railing. But yeah, it looks like a place where you don't want to stick your finger or foot in there. That would be scary. So very interesting. K3REH, back to you.
All right, I think smelling the mahogany of the railing was the main part that I missed. So that's wonderful. Thanks, Anders, for that. And how about Carol, KP4MD, N6EMF?
Yes, this is KP4MD. I see the picture. You saw it came through very well. I think this is also something to do with pulling a ship through a canal, but it is very close. If that's the side of the ship, it is really close to the edge. It's really close to the edge of the canal there. But I think that's what it is. The picture came in very well. Back to Net. This is KP for MD.
All right, thank you for that, Carol. Next up, James, KN6 rather, QNJ. Were you able to copy?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool picture. I noticed a couple other things we haven't talked about. It looks like the mule or the locomotive, whatever it is going to be passing a building. The very top part of the picture, I'm not sure, is attached to the locomotive, even though they're the same color. But also, the camera that the woman is holding is an old, Instamatic 35 millimeter camera, which tells me that if this is Panama Canal, it's before it was rebuilt and widened and deepened. KN6 QNJ.
It might even be one of those, I'm kind of joking throwing this out there, is this one of those 110 cameras? Well, we're going to hear all about it, I'm pretty sure. We're going to roll up back to the top of the list to Neil, and thank you for your comments and questions, James. And what do you say, Neil? N6NA.
Roger, scale 7 HQR. Well, you guys are too strong, too smart for me. It is the Panama Canal. It is the Panama Canal. We're aboard I believe, one of the Princess ships. The picture was taken in 2005, and exactly, it is the mule on the left-hand side. There's several that are attached to the ship. But the main point of showing this picture is that lady looking down, by the way, is my mother, who became a silent key 10 years ago, just a few days ago. And she is looking down in between the ship, which is the railing, and the white parts just below her, and the edge of the land. There is a puck just about between a foot and a foot and a half between the ship and the edge of land. And she is at deck number 10 on the ship, understanding that deck number 4 is water level. So she's 6 decks above the water. And so it was quite impressive how close those ships go. And this ship, if I remember, it was Panamax, which is the largest size that was allowed to go through the locks. But like Anders said, just recently they built, the Panama Canal is exactly the same. They just built wider locks for larger size ships. So good job. Back to Nick.
I didn't have any. I don't have a vocabulary for the rather Panama Canal and all of the infrastructure that's required to get all these things done. So it's the first I'm ever hearing about a mule and these sorts of things. But happy birthday to your mom, who's a SK now. I'm wondering if maybe you could let us know if she was actually a ham. You made a reference to her being an SK. I was wondering if that was specific to her being a ham, or was that just silent key? So yeah, thanks for sharing that little bit of history. Neil, how about it?
No, not a ham. She is just a mother of and a wife to two very enthusiastic hams. So fantastic lady. She is the one who got me going on cruises. So thanks. Back to Nat. Very good description and very good guesses.
Right. Well, yeah. Thanks for the follow-up there, Neil. Any other comments or follow-up questions for Neil?
Question?
Go ahead.
So this is 6 decks up above waterline, and the ship still's got to go down to the bottom of the keel. That means the lock is empty, and that just kind of blows me away then, just how large and deep the lock must be. But I take it you're either before you went up or after you went down, if the lock is at the empty end where it's got just enough water for the ship on it. Back to Net AI6TG.
Well, the ship is on the upper part, has gone up one side. It is the level of the lakes. And so if you look at the right lower edge of the K in KL7, that is right at the water level. And I wish I could change the darkness of the picture so you can actually see some water there. So you're looking 6 floors down onto the water, and there is enough water for the draft of the ship. So they are really big.
But if the lock were full, you'd be 6 stories above the mule. You're at mule level, so the lock must be empty.
No. This is the lock is. We went up the locks, and we are on the upper level with the water already on the lock. Now you go down into the next lock, and it closes behind you, and then the water goes down, and the ship goes down with it. But this water stays at this level at all times.
Okay, I'm not understanding, because you're at the same level as the mule, and if you're 6 stories up, that means the water level must be 6 stories down below you.
It means that the top where the mule are is 6 stories up above the highest level of the water.
So, did you start 6 stories up and they let the water out and you went down?
We started below and went into the lock, and the lock closed, and the water brought the ship up to this point. Now we cross with the mule pulling. When we get to the other side, you go to the Panama Canal, and on the other side, you reach that point, and they empty the lock, it goes down. So this is the level of the lake. I forget the name of the lake, and the level of the canal itself. We can continue later. I think we have a lot of people going with other pictures. So thanks for the interest, and we can continue privately. Yeah, back to Ned.
Back to Ned, AI60.
Hey, let me add a piece of trivia, and thanks for the discussion. I happen to have a book titled Infrastructure in my library at home here. It's a field guide to the industrial landscape. And then there's a whole chapter on shipping. And then there's a section in that chapter on the Panama Canal. I just thought I'd offer this piece of trivia that a container ship or a tanker might pay as much as $100,000 for a single passage through there. And that was in 2005. I imagine it could be double that by now, or at least substantially more. If anybody's ever interested in borrowing this book, just let me know. I'll figure out a way to get it to you. N6EMF, last comment on that. And let's see, where are we? Carol, if you like, you can transmit now. If not, I will jump down to James and see if he's ready. N6EMF.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. I also want to mention that Alf, Can6PRD, and Frank, W6NYX, are with us on YouTube. And here comes a picture of PD120.
Yeah, I think I was transmitting 2 meters, and I'm sorry I did that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good now. You were on the 2-meter repeater.
All right, sorry about that. I was fumbling with my radio, but long story short is I get a good photograph from Carol, KP4MD, very beautiful color spectrum, nice color balance. Looks like 3 gentlemen celebrating something in front of possibly some kind of church, possibly a Catholic church. Looks like it could be in, judging by the flag in the upper left-hand corner, it could be a Puerto Rican setting or Puerto Rican folks celebrating something. So that's my my interpretation of the photo. Overall, pretty nice photo, just a little bit of noise. And let me kind of go out of order. James, were you able to copy?
Thanks. This is James, KN6QNJ. Yeah, I have a lot of pixel pops in it, but the colors come through. It's a really great photo. I think you may be right. It's Puerto Rico or somewhere in the Caribbean. And there's obviously some kind of celebration, but I don't know what it is.
Yes, thank you, James. That was KN6QNJ and 6EMF is also saying hello to both Frank and Alf, if I got it right. Welcome to the show, and thanks for watching. So, yeah, at first I thought it might have been another flag, but it's definitely confirmed that it's a Puerto Rican one. And let's see, that was, I'll go up the reverse order. How about Anders, K3REH?
I can confirm reception of the picture. Very good picture with 3 gentlemen standing in front and smiling. Puerto Rican flag up in the left-hand corner there. Got a bunch of pixel pops throughout the whole image, but not to disturb what the motive is for sure. One thing that happened to me, it's never happened before. I got a slant triangle on the left side of the picture, so it doesn't look like the slant correction worked. I tried to do it in NSNA SSTV here, but it didn't want to do it afterwards. So not sure what caused that, but. Yeah, that's. I see a church or a building in the background there, white. First I thought it was Hearst Castle, but I don't think that's what it is. The middle guy there, he's holding something that looks like a little fire in his hands, or maybe a crystal of some form. Don't know. Orange thing kind of glows. But they look happy, so that's a good thing. K3RH, back to net.
All right, thanks for that. By the way, if you click on the sync tab of the photograph and maybe the yellow happy face after that, that might correct the slant. It did for me. Hopefully it works for you. Let us know.
It did not work, so not sure what happened there. Okay, well, thanks for the tip, though. K3RH, back to net.
All right, well, something to note. Thank you. Joel, going in reverse order, AI6DG, were you able to copy?
Pretty good. Yep, lump pops. Good color. First half of the shot, I thought, oh, church. And then I thought, oh, is that a Texas flag? Wait a minute. Is it? I don't know. And then someone mentioned Carol and Puerto Rico, and that could be, that makes sense from coming from Carol. So we had 3 gentlemen dressed up, and I don't know. The only thing I can think of is this maybe the 3 wise men, or is this a Christmas celebration? Look forward to hearing more. Back to net, AI6DG.
Yeah, I should be ashamed of myself, but I have to admit that sometimes I get confused between the flag of the Philippines and the Puerto Rican flag, because they have, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but sort of a similar motif. They've got that rectangle off to the left, triangle off to the left with sort of something in the middle, and then, Anyway, if you look at both of them, you'll see there's a significant difference. But those are the two that I get crossed up in my mind sometimes. But anyway, let's get on up the road to KL7HQR. How were you able to copy?
Sure. KL7HQR, very, very good copy. I think the little pops really do not detract. Beautiful, beautiful colors, and I would assume that those gentlemen were commemorating tomorrow, the 6th of January, which is the King's Day, and I believe that these are the commemoration. The church in the back looks a lot like some of the churches that we see throughout South America, and so I would assume it to be in the Philippines commemorating Christmas, specifically tomorrow. And they would be the three kings that came to deliver gifts, and two of them are bringing Puerto Rican flags, and the other one is bringing a jar with mirror or something. But that's my guess. A beautiful copy. Back to Net.
Indeed, it was beautiful. Yeah, thanks for that, Joel. Neil. And going right up to the top, the first check-in was Bob, N6PGQ. How were you able to copy?
Copied well. I can't add too much more to it, but it looks like they have a wreath of some type underneath the cross at the top of the church. I don't know if that's commemorating an event or something to that effect, but a good picture and interesting outfits in 6PGQ.
All right. This is a wrap for comments, and we'll turn it over to Carol, KP4MD. Tell us.
Okay, very good. Well, you did it. You got it. This is a picture taken in a town in Puerto Rico called Isabela, and those three men dress up as the three wise men, and they are singers also. And this is to commemorate the 6th of January, which in Christian countries is known also as the Feast of the Epiphany, remembering the day that the wise men came to visit the baby, the child Jesus. And they came bearing gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And yes, you could tell, you saw that wreath up on the church. This is the church in the Central Plaza. All of those cities in Latin America, when they were established by the colonial powers, they set up a grid pattern in these towns that they set up, and in the center there would be a plaza, and the church would be facing the Central Plaza, and it would be right on there. So this is what it is, and the wreath is there because it is the Christmas season. And yeah, Puerto Rico, the people in Puerto Rico really love to celebrate the festivities of the Christmas season. And they are doing it all the way through January 6th. January 6th actually is the day that children in Latin America get their gifts, because Santa Claus was more of a Northern European thing. And the wise men were the ones that traditionally brought the gifts. So children would be anxious to get their gifts on January 6th. In Puerto Rico in particular, though, they don't like to give up there on that January 6th. They'll even go for another week, leaving all of the decorations up and being very festive. So they call that the Octavitas. That's a, I don't know if any other countries do that, but they don't like to give up celebrating. So yeah, nice little timely picture to commemorate January 6th, which is tomorrow. So back to Net Control. This is KP4MD.
Well, thank you for that, KP4MD. That's a wonderful narrative, Carol. And, it's the Feast of the Epiphany, and concludes the end of the, it basically ends the Christmas season, right? It's the, I guess it concludes the 12 days of Christmas. So I was looking at that online. And so thanks for sharing a little bit of history and some culture and some religious context there. So very, very cool. Thank you very much. Any other comments on this?
KL7HQR. I just learned something from Carol. Thank you, Carol. I'm from Brazil, and I've been in most of the other South American and several Central American countries, but always very quickly. One day here, and just at most 3 days, and never ever during Christmas. I knew that in Spain they have the gifts given on the 6th of January. Brazil, they do not. They do Santa Claus just like here in the States. So I learned something that the rest of the South America, or most Latin America, is different from Brazil. Appreciate it. Back to that.
Very good. Thank you for that, Neil. And it's just interesting to hear about different parts of the world and how they celebrate different days of the year and perspectives. I don't know if I could wait till January 6th to get my Christmas gifts when I was a kid. So, and a dirty little secret about me is this year my Christmas tree is still in the family room. So I need to get that put away. How's that? It's an artificial tree. And I gave up on dealing with real trees. So that's kind of my disposition with Christmas right now. Anyway, I'm tempted to go in there and turn the lights on and enjoy one more evening of lighted tree. Let's see, where are we? You know what? I want to get to James. I want to see if KN6QNJ has been able to get his FT991 situated for slow scan TV.
Thank you. I think I'm ready to go. What mode should I choose?
Well, I would suggest to start with a tone test. You want to check that and see how you're doing. And if you want to go for speed, you can do like a Robot 36. If you want to do the circuitous route and the leisurely scenic route, do a PD 120.
Okay, let's start with the tone test.
Congratulations to you, James, because I hear tone, and want to say thanks to Anders, K3REH, for helping out. Nice work.
Yeah, thank you, Anders. Okay, so this is James, KN6QNJ. I'm about to hit the button.
First things first, N6NA Net Control here wants to say that I have been able to copy a wonderful photo, quite a few pixel pops that are pretty heavily ingrained. Not too many, I'd just say quite a few, somewhere in the middle. But the clarity is about medium, but given it's a Robot 36, not too bad. Lots of copper and stainless steel apparatus or infrastructure in this environment in the photo. I'm going to suggest that it's a distillery converted to a hand sanitizing plant. Or I don't know, but it looks like some kind of distillery operation in there, or some kind of chemical processing unit. That's about all I could say about it, but it looks quite interesting. Can't wait to hear the story behind it. And I'm going to go out of order for fun, kind of mix things up a little bit. I'm going to jump to Carol, KP4MD. Were you able to copy?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. Copied it. Just like you say, it's a bunch of nice shiny metal with all kinds of tubes and pipes going around. It looks like some fantastic type of distillery or processing something. It's some kind of an industrial center. No idea what it is, but it's very pretty and nice and shiny. So back to Nets, KP for MD.
All right. Well, congratulations, James, for getting your first slow scan TV out on the net for N6NA. Thanks for your comments, Carol. I'm going to go reverse order. How about Anders, K3REH?
Congratulations for getting the first image through. That's excellent, and thank you for for forcing me to actually document the process, because that was something that I had not done. It was very useful to kind of find the critical path to making the combo of the radio and the computer work. The only technical thing that I think we should look at is to back off on the audio level a little bit. I think you're a little hot on the modulation, so maybe we can back off a few dB on that. And there's a setting, there's a menu for that, so it's a menu for everything. As to the picture, I did receive it, got a few pixel pops, lots of vertical pipes, steel, stainless steel, and brass. Looks like the brass pipes have some kind of inspection windows, a whole bunch of them on there. Interesting setup for sure. There's some kind of a heat exchanger up on the top right there in the background, and some kind of vat or distillery thingy on the right side. A little hard to see the scale. Very interested to hear what this is. K3REH, back to Net.
I'm really excited, and thank you for your comments, Anders. And just want to remind everyone, this net serves for training and practicing image transmission modes. So, woohoo! You two, I can tell you, James, you really need to document this as a significant accomplishment for the year, for 2022. This is probably one of your first significant accomplishments for the year. So congratulations to you and your FT991 getting online. This is awesome. Any other comments? Let's see, where were we? We were at Anders, going up the list to Joel. Go right ahead, Joel.
Well, I got musical instruments on my mind with all the violin talk earlier. So the first thing I think when I see this is that all the, I don't know, the round things, I don't know if they're inspection windows or not, but first thing I think is that they're keys on a flute or a clarinet or a saxophone or something. But the scale's way off for that, because I think we're looking at probably something here that's 10 or 15 feet tall, because it looks like there's a big kettle type thing on the right, and a big with the copper top and stainless steel bottom, and all the way on the left behind everything looks like there's another huge stainless steel container, a roll around big bin of something on the left side, so, and lots of pipes, and yeah, heat exchanger on the upper right. So what is it, a distillery or some sort of a chemical lab of some kind, maybe a physics lab or something? Yeah, I look forward to hearing what it is also. Back to Net AI6TG.
All right, very good, Joel. Thank you very much. Jumping around here, N6PGQ at the top. How about you, Bob? N6EMF.
Well, it may have been my receiver, but the picture at the very top has a break at about a fifth of the way down, and it doesn't line up with the rest of it. There's some bronze or brass pieces and pipes at the top, and then it switches to the lower picture. It looks to me like it's some type of distillery, so we'll let it go and see what it is in 6PGQ.
Well, all right. Getting down to Neil, KL7HQR. Thank you, Bob.
KL7HQR. Yeah, I have to agree with Joel. My first thought was a very complex, very large wind instrument. But I think the distillery definitely will win. Curious, and congratulations. The first picture is always a very, very satisfying and good accomplishment. Back to that.
Yep. Again, congratulations going out to KN6Q and J and all the support from K3REH, who also made a lot of progress with his FT911. And I remember the first time I got on this net with a handheld Yaesu FT60 and a homebrew. Actually, I was doing it with acoustical coupling, just using the microphone on the handheld and a laptop speaker. So it was really rough, and kind of worked my way up through a homebrew electrical interface to the laptop between the HT and then so on and so forth. So this is fun to see a development. So let's see. I think I can go back down to James, KN6QNJ. Would you like to tell us about the photo? I think I got everybody on the list for comments.
Sure. Thanks, everybody, for your congratulations. Yeah, we worked it through. I had, by the way, experimented with acoustical coupling using the iPad app, but the results were terrible. So I'm glad that I stuck with this. And Anders, thank you very much. Again, this is James, KN6QNJ. This is a photo of part of the brewing operation and distilling operation at J.J. Pfister, which is a local brewery off of Bradshaw on Business Park. Break. The story is my wife owns a restaurant in downtown Sacramento near the Golden One Center, and we were there for dinner, and the manager made the connection that we were connected to the restaurant industry, so he took us to the back and showed us their whole distilling process, and they make all kinds of spirits there. And this particular area, those are viewing glasses, and you can actually watch the, if you know what you're doing, you can check the status of how the alcohol is distilling. The end product, and I think Net Control said this, the end product actually is hand sanitizer, and J.J. Pfister was making hand sanitizer at the beginning of the pandemic. So we also left with boxes of J.J. Pfister hand sanitizer that my wife took to her restaurant because Purell had created a situation where if you didn't meet a certain level of certification, you could no longer sell hand sanitizer. And that's the story. This is James, KN6QNJ.
Thank you for the explanation, James. That is great because just kind of poking fun at the photograph. I knew that it was a distillery because it involved heat and must be processing vapors and stuff, but I remember kind of early in the pandemic when there was I think there was a national call for, or sort of an emergency call for distilleries to convert to produce hand sanitizers. And my wife and I were buying these glass bottled hand sanitizing fluids that were kind of in the shape of a like a Scotch bottle or a whiskey bottle. And I wonder if it was that brand because it could have been a local supplier. But it was almost like a whiskey bottle that was clear in color, and the hand sanitizer was something that we used to pour out into, anyway, we used to make our own little hand sanitizing napkins here at home at the beginning of the pandemic. Does that ring a bell?
They probably did make that. By the time we were taking boxes out, they looked like your typical 4 or 8 ounce plastic bottle with a pump on top. But we also have some of those bottles because we were trying to find hand sanitizer at the beginning of the pandemic. But you were exactly right. They went into hand sanitizing business for a while.
It's actually probably more valuable per unit per fluid ounce than alcohol. I mean, if a little bottle of hand sanitizer is $3, then it probably exceeds the cost of a nice bottle of whiskey or whatever. But this is interesting. Thanks for sharing that photo of some really interesting brewing infrastructure. Any other comments or questions?
KL7H.
Go ahead, Neil.
I would be very curious to know the name of the restaurant that you have in the family. Feel free not to say so. I don't want to invade your privacy.
And flow scan some coupons.
Thanks for asking. I'm happy to share. My wife is one of the owners of Solomon's downtown at between 7th and 8th on K Street. It's in the location of, I think it was the 4th or 5th Tower Records store, the one with the mural in the alcove. That's my wife's restaurant.
Thank you. We shall be there.
KP4MD.
Hey, Carol.
Yeah, I'm very interested in this restaurant. Actually, a friend of mine, when I was back in New York, asked me to bring back some chopped liver from a from a kosher deli in the Bronx in New York City, and I had to freeze it so it wouldn't go bad while I was on the plane. And then I brought it over here, and she was looking for a source of chopped liver around here, and I think Solomon's at one time carried it, but I guess they don't do it anymore. But anyway, I was looking at the menu, and it looks really, really interesting. So I'll be perhaps interested in going down and checking it out sometime also. Thank you. This is KP4MD.
KP4MD, KN6QNJ. Well, yes, and if you do go, make sure you know, try to let me know, and I'll meet you down there. Certainly ask for my wife and tell her that we're in the River City Club together. Her name is Jamie, so I'm James, she's Jamie. They did have chopped liver, but not enough people bought it, Break. But they do, everything there is handmade. They make the bagels, they boil them before they bake them, handmade every day. So you can get almost anything else, but the chopped liver, which my father used to love, is no longer sold, at least not until there's more demand.
I'm taking a look at the menu. It is quite interesting, and one of the things that appeals to me, just on a personal note, is the breakfast all day. We tend to get up late on weekends, and we're scrambling for sometimes a nice place to eat. So if you're open on Saturdays, we might try to get down there pretty soon. And looking at the menu online, and let's see, breakfast all day. Anyway, interesting point, and thanks for sharing. Sounds like a wonderful place to go eat. How's that? Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 3.
Yes, if you need any advice on what to get, don't hesitate to ask me. However, today and tomorrow they are closed because they ran out of employees due to COVID.
That's frightening and concerning. I was watching the news early this morning, and they were talking about the great resignation that is occurring across society, and they're talking about how even escalating on wages and sign-on bonuses is not retaining people in the service industry. So it's unfortunate, and I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope that that situation improves overall.
Thank you. I should have been clear. The actual issue is that a bunch of staff tested positive for the COVID, although they have had the challenges with finding good staff.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing. Wish you the best and moving forward and with all of that. And that's a really interesting twist on our show this evening, and thank you again. Any other additional comments? It might be worthwhile hearing any additional comments.
N6KEN.
Go ahead, N6EMF.
N6EMF in the group, N6KEN. I've been here the whole night, but it took me 30 minutes to redo my shack. I tore everything down because I've had my daughter out here on Christmas break, and my goal was to put everything back together, and I realized that one of my cables I needed to put a power pole, Anderson power pole connector on. So for half the net I was doing that, and finally got my station up. But I did get all your images.
Hey, all right, Ken. Well, thanks for dropping in and saying hello. I'm going to say we'll just stick with our cast right now. I probably don't want to add any check-ins for transmitting photos tonight. But if you're welcome to stick around and comment, and appreciate that. And, well, congratulations on troubleshooting and replacing a power pole. On the 10-meter net, last week we found out that K6 GCN, I think, had a problem with a power pole on his HF station, and pretty much pooped out towards the end of the net. So he explained that tonight. It's the second power pole failure story that I heard about tonight. So hang in there. I've got one at my desk I need to get installed that is brand new in the box, but it's 2-3 months old. So let's see what happens. Hopefully they're not having quality control issues. N6 EMF. Anything else, Ken?
Yeah, it wasn't a failure. I'm actually converting over to power poles, and I like them quite a bit. Makes it really nice to hook and unhook things really quickly. But yeah, no, I wasn't going to add another photo. It's already 10 o'clock. But my only comment would be if you might want to add maybe just like a normal net, periodically ask if there's any late check-ins.
That's a great suggestion, and I do apologize for neglecting to do that. But I do appreciate you. I'm going to add you to the list, and you're welcome to comment on photos. I'll ask and see if you want to comment on the next couple of photos. And by the way, you were at HRO when I purchased my power pole box and the crimping tool and a few other knickknacks. You were the one that I talked to that day. So anyway, good to hear from you, Ken. And let's see, where are we in the process? I was trying to do a random stuff and got disoriented. 1 second. I think we can check on Joel, AI6DG. If you're ready to transmit a photo, go right ahead.
Let's see if it works this week. Here, is there a temp? Was there a tone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, there was a tone. Great tone. Go ahead.
8120.
like this is N6NA Net Control was able to copy a photo. It looks like one that may have come from the International Space Station as a slow scan TV image, and it looks like a hydrogen-sucking robotic parasite attached to the moon, if I'm not mistaken. But there might be another name for it, and that was just for fun. So I would say it was an excellent photo with a black, just really good color balance. The pixel pops don't mean anything; they're there, but definitely doesn't take away from the value and the enjoyment of the photo. So nice one, Joel. Nice work. And let me go down the list to Bob in N6PGQ. How are you able to copy?
Well, you've described it fairly well. I don't think this came from a slow scan TV, although it may have. The date on there of January 1959 makes the satellite look appropriate. It's kind of the same idea as the first Russian satellite, and we all know how the hams listened to the signal as it went around the world. But this was says the first lunar flyby in whatever year that was, January of '59. Good picture. I think the idea happened about a third of the way down. Other than that, good quality in N6PGQ.
All right, nice copy work, Bob. Thank you. KL7HQR, are you good? Were you able to copy?
KL7HQR. Yes, I did copy that directly from the space station, but obviously he had a better reception than I did. Mine has a lot more distortion, so this seemed to be a very, very clean copy. Good reception here tonight.
All right, thank you for that. Let's see. Anders, K3REH.
Yeah, received the picture very well. One of those very well-traveled images. They've gone up and down. Very cool. And the Luna 1, I happened to look that one up not too long ago, and the only thing I remember about it was that it actually missed the moon. It was supposed to crash into the moon, I think, and it missed. But yeah, nice picture. Since the background is black and solid color, you can see all the pops, but not too bad at all. Very nice. K3RH, back to you.
All right, awesome copy work with the FT991. I don't know if it's a D or an A, but I like how we say each digit in the part number one by one. So there's a reason for that, and I'll explain later. Okay, so Carol, KP4MD.
Yeah, hi. This is KP4MD. Well, yeah, this is definitely one of the pictures that the International Space Station sent down during the slow scan TV event they had from December 26th to December 31st. Actually, I had my radio left on that frequency 145.80 on the 29th of December, and I was looking back through the history of the pictures that were copied, and I did copy this one twice, but nothing as good as this. Both of them had a couple of deep fades through the picture. So an excellent reception of the Russian Luna 1 lunar flyby. Back to net control. This is KP4MD.
Indeed, I agree. Thanks, Carol. And the reason why I like it when we say ham radio part numbers using each digit individually is because there's a guy on YouTube named Water Stanton, and I enjoy listening to his accent and the way he talks about things. But he always calls the part by the individual part, the individual characters or the individual numerals in the part number, like IC7300. And it just kind of reminds me of things like 007 and some of the favorite products that I have in my life. I usually call them that way, even though others call them 7300. I'll say 7300. that's just the goofy side of me. Anyway, where were we? And so next up is KN6QNJ. Were you able to copy?
This is KN6QNJ. Yes, it came through really well on my computer through my FT991A. Except on the left side, I do have a green slant on this. I did have slants on some of the other pictures too. I'm not quite sure how to fix that. I think Anders had mentioned that before. But I think this is a great photo. Came through very well. KN6QNJ.
All right. Well, we're getting down the list. Thank you, James. How about N6KEN? Did you want to comment?
N6KEN. I have a 100% copy, and curious if this was just downloaded on the internet or if this was received by Joel. Back to that.
All right, so much fun. Back to Joel in AI6DG.
So I set SSTV running probably the day before the 25th, or maybe it was early the 26th, and had it running pretty much the whole time, all the way until the 1st. This is by far the best reception I had of everything, and it just must have been perfect timing and everything must have just lined up perfectly, because most of the others I got were just terrible. I mean, like Carol indicated, either it was all noise or it was strong, and then you had some strong fade points where it went to all static in the middle of it. And this one has a little bit of fading about a third of the way down. But as you can see, we received it quite well. So it's just random chance of during the pass when they start transmitting and how your station is going to pick it up. And I'm using the same antenna on the roof that I do for repeaters, so this has got gain, not even gain from horizon to horizon. It's going to pick it best up probably on low passes across the horizon. And maybe that's what happened in this pass. I'm not sure what the specs were on the pass that it just got picked up on. Back to net, AI6DG.
Looks to me as if you had the original photo and you transmitted it to us, and it lost a little bit of quality, but it's spectacularly clean. So whatever happened was almost ideal. So nice work, Joel. Thank you. N6EMF. All right, we're running 1017, and I think we are going to get Anders to send a photo, K3REH, and we're going to call it a wrap. Are we good?
I'm good.
All right, go ahead, Anders, N6EMF. Thank you.
So, because this is the first net of the year, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody, and this will be a PD120, and just because I have to eat what I make, I am trying this for the first time on my FT991A. Previously, I've used a different setup, but here we go. And I'm pretty sure that didn't work at all.
It did not.
All right, so I have work to do, and then I would suggest that I do that next week.
All right. Well, Anders, he tried to eat his own dog food, which is a term I think that came from IBM. So it's not derogatory, it's not offensive, but if you're curious, look it up. What does it mean to eat your own dog food? It's a pretty interesting business concept. So thank you, everybody, for a wonderful Slow Scan TV. session tonight. I'm not going to send a photo, and we're going to call it a wrap. I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Special thanks to Carol for running the YouTube streaming session, as well as the visitors we had that are identified and unidentified. Frank and Alf, thank you very much. So what I'll do is say thanks to all who participated in tonight's Slow Scan TV Net. We hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 o'clock p.m. The net is officially closed at 10:20 p.m. Pacific time. This is Wilson, November 6th, Echo Mike Foxtrot, wishing all of you a good evening and a Happy New Year. Thank you. 7-3. Good night, Bob. Good night, Neil. Good night, Joel. Good night, Anders. Good night, Carol. Good night, James.